welcome back to another session of podcast. And we have a juicy session today, very juicy session. We have to go back to a lot of the things we've discussed in this podcast and many things we've said before. And there's no better place to start than the Balon d'Or ceremony. Isaac, I'm looking at you.
What?
I'm remembering all the things you've said before. You feel
Yeah,
me? You
yeah.
said some things. We need to hold you accountable for some things. But
Like
before I
what?
ask you any question, how did you feel about the Ballon d'Or? Like, what's your initial reaction to everything that happened? You know, the win, Madrid's behavior. Like, just give it to me. How you feel?
I mean, um, so I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can because I mean everyone knows I'm a Manchester United fan, so I don't
Uh-huh.
want what I say to be taken as I'm just hating on Manchester City.
Uh-huh.
Um, my initial reaction actually, and you know we're in a group with the guys with the other Manchester City fans, and you saw what I
Uh-huh.
said. The first thing I said was, "This is a power move by Manchester City." That's what I
Uh-huh.
said first of all, right?
Uh-huh.
Because we all thought, there had been reports Vinicius was going to win. I mean,
Uh-huh.
like we're not speaking out of our ass or anything. Like this was like everyone knew this. Media outlets, Madrid had prepared for it. Everything. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. So at
And then
Vini
all
actually.
exactly. And
Uh-huh.
then apparently, like 4 hours before the game, Manchester City sent Real Madrid. I don't know whether they are texting or an email or whatever that hey, it's
Uh-huh.
actually Rodri who is winning. I mean, how did Manchester City find out? And to even make that move to decide to
Uh-huh.
like let them know that hey, yeah, it's our guy
Uh-huh.
who's gonna win. That's like some power move.
Uh-huh.
And and also when the season started, somewhere along the lines, I also remember making a comment that I can see what Manchester City are doing in terms of Rodri. He was getting
Uh-huh.
more PR. He was doing media runs, talking about,
Uh-huh.
the Balon d'Or. He did that interview with ESPN where he talked about how, no Spanish player has won it, since some Suarez guy, in the
Uh-huh.
60s or something. Talking about the Spanish era of midfielders and, Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, and
Uh-huh.
those guys that, they never won it, So I feel like they had they had been like kind of really packaging it really nicely, building the PR and everything. And in the end, I just feel like it paid off, right? It was a combination of things that I believe made Rodri one. Of course, individually, he did do great, right? Um, I wouldn't go as far as to say he was Manchester City's best player. He wasn't. I mean, Foden won
Uh-huh.
the Premier League Player of the Year. That tells
Uh-huh.
you Rodri wasn't Manchester City's best player. I mean,
Uh-huh.
Haaland could even have
Uh-huh.
an argument about that. He certainly wasn't the best player in Champions League. I mean, they got knocked out.
Uh-huh.
Um, in the Euros, one could even argue he wasn't their best player. I mean, the guy didn't get played a final. He was pulled at halftime. You get what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Um, so one may even argue he wasn't Spain's best player either. So a lot of it to me felt like, okay, they are rewarding him for the run they had in the treble the year before, because that's when
Uh-huh.
Rodri's name started really being mentioned, like Rodri, he's so good, he's so good. And I just felt like I think it was just a lazy kind of decision. Then again, they say it's a voting. I don't know. Some people are
Uh-huh.
arguing that because Real Madrid had a lot of players up there, it kind of reduced the
Uh-huh.
amount of votes that Vinicius got. We could argue that for days. I mean,
Uh-huh.
why should it be? So are you trying to tell me that that Vinicius deserved it, but just because there were more Real Madrid players up there, he shouldn't get it? It was split across. I mean, that makes no sense either. But hey, is Rodri a worthy winner? Arguable, but yes, man. Is he the best midfielder on the planet? He's certainly the best defensive midfielder.
Uh-huh.
We can say that. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not too mad at it. A bold move
Okay.
from Manchester City. With regards to Real Madrid's behavior, I mean, I'm kind of torn because on one side I'm like, of course, football there's fair
Uh-huh.
play in football, right? Sportsmanship. You should reward. You should fair play, respect the achievements of others. At the same
Uh-huh.
time, to also they want team of the year, like team
Yeah.
of the year. They want coach of the year. So why
Uh-huh.
weren't you there to get like pick up those awards and stuff? It felt more like they just cared about the individual. Like here they have the Balon d'Or winner, which was, I mean, they say it was in support of Vini, but I'm also thinking about the other players. Like think of Joselu, man. Joselu was part of Real Madrid's
Yeah.
squad last season. You know what I'm saying? Like this was an opportunity for him to be on the podium. Like, yeah, I'm part
Uh-huh.
of the Ballon d'Or ceremony. He probably ain't
Uh-huh.
never gonna experience that in his life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's some way. But on the other side, so I'm like, damn, that's some like they just took the whole attention from Rodri, man, just like that. They
Uh-huh.
all over the that's like some power, Fiorentino Perez move right there. So
Yeah.
mixed feelings, man. Mixed feelings, man. I mean, maybe we could get into like metrics of like who should deserve it and stuff like that. But I mean, that's my initial reaction. I mean, what did you think?
I mean, fair play. I understand everything you just said.
Yeah.
And there's some things I agree with, some things maybe I'm still on the fence on. For
Hmm.
example, the whole Rodri, getting it and maybe not necessarily deserving it, quote unquote. I mean, let's be fair. Neither of us stood up here and said we expect Rodri to get it. Remember when we made our
Hmm.
initial Balon d'Or reactions at the start of the season?
Yeah.
We're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You made the argument for Vini very effectively, and I said, okay, cool. If I was to play devil's advocate, let me make an argument for Bellingham. Nowhere
Hmm.
near did we think Rodri was going to be there, bro. And then at
True.
any point, I can't lie, neither of us did. Coming
Yeah.
closer to the season and to the ceremony, we said, okay, cool. Rodri is starting to filter in through these names and stuff. And that's kind of how the Ballon d'Or works. Effectively, you kind of know and you have a feeling of who's going to win. Which is also
Yeah.
why I think the Madrid shock hit so hard because all super journalists, Fabrizio, ESPN, bro,
Bro.
the Ferdinand, bro, like all those big pundits, they were making Vini's name synonymous with Ballon d'Or. And because of the nature of the Ballon d'Or, you take that and you know that he's going to win the Ballon d'Or, right?
Yeah.
It didn't help that it came after that 5-2 win over Borussia Dortmund, where like, oh, people were like, okay, cool, Vini Ballon d'Or, we can't wait for him to get the Ballon d'Or
Yeah. I
next
mean,
week. We can't wait. So my big issue is just with how the information got filtered and just how the structure of this of setting up to it was. That was my biggest issue, right? Because to some degree it's a popularity contest, but it can't be a popularity contest if there's people voting because people voting makes it objective, right? You have votes, they count. So irrespective of who is popular or not, and that's how Rodri won. You feel me? So my whole issue is with how the Ballon d'Or is set up in that sense, and we can't change that. 'Cause that's how it's always been since the Messi Ronaldo ages, right?
yeah.
And beyond that, um, also how the information was leaked, and just how,
Yeah. That was
if,
just weird.
yeah, that was very weird to me. Imagine if Vini was actually there and they didn't say his name, bro.
I
That's what
mean,
pure drama would be. That's what pure drama would be, and that's what I wanted because I woke up in the morning. It was morning outside of the
yeah. Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And if you guys are watching this, you can tell us when it was for you in the comments. But it was morning for us, right?
Hmm.
And waking up to that news, you wake up, you open Twitter, like, okay, cool, what's
Bro.
happening? Ballon d'Or Day. And then I see Fabrizio. That's when I first saw it, posting Vini black and white photo. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, Madrid wants to attend the ceremony. I'm like,
Black and white photo is crazy.
no, like what's going through my mind is like, bro, what's going on with Vini, bro? You
Yeah.
feel me? And I think that has really it diluted the moment so much for everyone, or especially neutrals involved. Now, whether or not Madrid were justified in leaving, man, depends on your definition of sportsmanship. I think
Yeah.
on one hand, okay, cool. If you're an entity as big as Madrid, you are really setting
Mhm.
the pace for other teams and other people. That's not something that you do as a good example. It really isn't,
True.
right?
True.
But Madrid is only a big entity because it's level of arrogance. Let's be
Hundred
honest.
percent. Like,
And it
yeah,
is,
it's
yeah, like
weird.
that's why they're big. They're arrogant in a way that a big team is. So it's that level of arrogance that really carried them to decide that we're not gonna come because of our boy
Yeah.
Vinny. You feel me?
I
So
feel you. I feel you.
yeah,
No, but seriously, Jojo, let
yeah,
let's just answer the question.
uh-huh.
Do you think Rodri is the best footballer on the planet right now? It's simple as that.
I don't think so. I just don't. I
Who
don't.
is?
Period. I'll give it to Vinny or Bellingham, in my opinion. I don't give it to Vinny or Bellingham. I can make an argument for both,
Okay.
right? I
Okay.
can make an argument for both. Now, a lot of pundits were saying class as well as part of the argument because you saw there was a third category for class and like fair play on
Yeah.
the pitch. Dude, we can go back to every single Ballon d'Or winner, right, and find a moment when they were classless.
Yeah. I
Messi,
mean, I
Ronaldo,
know,
every
like
maybe even Modric, Benzema, everyone,
Modric won the Balon d'Or with like 4 goals that year or something like that. Oh my
right?
god.
Oh, he only
Anyway,
won it because Croatia went to the final of the World Cup. That's really why
you
he
see,
did.
and that's why I also kind of get Real Madrid's confusion because it's like, okay, wait, they make
Hmm.
it seem like it was because of the European tournaments. Because let's face it, Rodri wasn't the best player in the Premier League. He wasn't the best player in the Champions League. He was the
No, he
best player in
wasn't.
the Euro tournaments. Arguably,
Hmm.
okay, sure, he won best player in the tournament. Well, if that's the case, what about
Hmm.
Danny Carvajal?
Mhm.
Carvajal was the man of the match in the Champions League final.
Mhm.
Was influential in them winning their league. He
Mhm.
even scored in the Euros too, for crying out loud. So if it's about trophies and international tournaments, isn't Carvajal a more worthy winner? Because of course, he won the other stuff. I even saw
Mhm.
some pundits go like Carvajal being in the top four is a disgrace. I'm like, damn. Like, if you don't want to make an
That's
argument
tough.
for Carvajal, why are you making an argument for Rodri? Like,
Mhm.
because if your whole argument is like, okay, Carvajal, he's not like the most aesthetically pleasing player, right? Like, doesn't look good on the eye,
Mhm.
whatever. He's just
Mhm.
effective at what he does.
Mhm.
Rodri is just effective at what he does. It's not like Rodri is banging like 50 yard
Exactly
passes
that
and stuff.
point.
He's just
Exactly.
really effective.
I
So
like
I'm
what you're
like,
saying. I like what you're saying. And let's think about the Ballon d'Or. Right? The Ballon d'Or used to go to the player who was perhaps tactically speaking the most brilliant, also one of the most appeasing to watch because that
mhm,
faces a lot into who the best player is, right? And
exactly.
I was watching like the overlap, Paul Scholes and Jamie Carragher, they're arguing with other different
Yeah, yeah,
YouTubers.
yeah.
And I think Paul Scholes said something like Rodri is only the best in the eyes of people who know football very well, who are football educated. I'm like, okay, that's a funny, it's a nice tidbit to say, right?
Yeah,
That's funny. But Rodri was just doing his job. He did it for the best team and he came out on top, right? True. But I think the Ballon d'Or is beyond just doing your job because many
exactly.
players do their job. You feel me?
That's what I was
Many
gonna
players
say.
do their job.
Are you
Many
saying
players,
are you saying Vini doesn't do his job? He does his
and
job and goes a little bit extra. That's what we're
that's what I'm
saying.
saying. That's what I'm
You know?
saying. The Ballon d'Or is to celebrate that brilliance, that touch of excellence that separates you from the rest. And while Rodri did his job better in comparison to other DMs,
Mhm.
Vini did his job better in comparison to other footballers
Yeah,
across the pond. And again,
exactly.
there might be some people watching this who would heavily disagree. Hey, look, we're just two boys who like talking about football. Sure, you can throw your opinions in the comments. Please do. We would like to, get your opinions and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
we're comparing the Ballon d'Or right now to what it's been for the past decade and a half or so, from when you and I started watching football, really,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that was '06, perhaps '07 or '08, when
Yeah.
Ronaldo or Messi would win it. Neymar
Yeah.
came close, right? Like those, when those guys were winning, Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets were doing their job,
They were
right?
doing their job, man.
Ribery was doing his
Looked
job.
even better at looked even better at doing it. I mean, imagine
You
Iniesta
feel what
on
I'm
the ball.
saying?
Oh my God, that was some
Like
graceful stuff. But still, it wasn't enough.
graceful
You know what
football,
I'm
man.
saying? So
So it's like
I
I feel
mean,
like the standards changed somewhat for Vini this
true.
time. And
True.
I'm not going to open that kind of worms that goes into because he's a black man and he's faced a lot of racism and
Mhm.
there's that side of football that's arguing that. Let's not do that on this podcast. I think we just keep it to where something feels different in terms of how they're judging
Yeah.
it. And because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's people voting, people can easily be swayed, subjectivity comes in, and, things happen like that.
Yeah.
Now, I think something I want to ask you is does this hurt Vini's chances of winning the Ballon d'Or in the future? Again, because people vote. You've seen how
Mm,
pundits have reacted to it.
yeah.
Pundits might take this moment and then use
Yeah.
it to influence how. Yeah. So, how, like, in your opinion, does it hurt him winning in the future?
I mean, the proof will be in the pudding, man. It will depend on the performance, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember, famously, there was a period where Messi just took over it. Ronaldo hadn't
Mm-hmm.
won yet. I think like for like 4 years straight. I
Mm-hmm.
remember he was beefing so hard. Ronaldo was beefing so hard with Sepp Blatter, the FIFA president at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and similar questions like this means he might never win it, but he was consistent. He consistently kept pushing and pushing it. Like it gets to a point where it's undeniable. Like
Mm-hmm.
imagine Vinicius ends the season, Champions League
Mm-hmm.
winner. There's no international tournament, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he wins the Champions League, he wins the league,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's say top scorer in the Champions League, top scorer in the league as
Mm-hmm.
well. It becomes undeniable at that point. At that point, if you don't give it in, then you're just laughing at us in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
So I don't think like it's hurting his chances, but he made a post that he has to do it 10 times more. It's actually true. I feel like now he
Mm-hmm.
actually has to go harder because there are some criticisms. I would even say, if I had something to say to Vini, not like he would listen or anything, but like, yeah, maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe try to tone down the character issues a little bit, right? Because there are times where, yeah, Vini plays like the villain. There are times where he plays like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one could argue maybe that's the flaw for him to perform the way he does. He wears his
Mm-hmm.
heart on his sleeve, very passionate and all of that. But
Mm-hmm.
there are some times where some of the there was this popular video that was going around this whole Balon d'Or video when Kimmich handed him the boy and just dropped it there. That's not nice to see. Nice like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
That's
maybe
true.
he could yeah, just double down, keep quiet, just put your head down, and just cook,
Mm-hmm.
man. We all know what kind of footballer he is, and so I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the chance is still there. The season is still there to be saved. And let's
Mm-hmm.
see what they do. I mean, apparently they are angry and they are going to take it out in AC Milan. So let's see how that goes.
Apparently,
So
I will see how it goes. I hope it does go well. And I like how you said, okay, cool. A lot of the way Vini plays now is like he plays like the villain. He plays like he's,
yeah,
and to a certain degree, he's been vilified, right? He's been
yeah,
vilified to a point where he has to be the Joker in some people's stories, as opposed to being Batman, right? You
true,
have Balon
true.
d'Or winners like Benzema who are Batman, like Modric, who are Superman. In many people's stories,
Yeah, yeah,
it was really like a happy-go-lucky coming-of-age story. If you think, Vini has
true
just
that.
had to go through so much shit that he has to play like that sometimes. But
Hmm.
I hate how social media takes those and puts those on the internet. When if you looked hard enough for Vini's moments where he's acting as a good
Yeah,
class
respectful person.
class
Yeah, yeah.
those are
You find that
those
too.
exist. There's so many. So
Exactly. Yeah.
again, just the nature of social media against the boys. So I think it helps that okay, cool. If you have less of those angry moments, like there's
Hmm.
less for people to catch you on. It's just helping yourself, right? But I just hope that at some point we get to see him win the Ballon d'Or, right? I
It would
think
be nice.
it will be nice. It will be nice for
It would
Vini.
be
It will be
nice.
good for everything he's going through. That's true. But then there's another bigger question though, because Madrid had how many? Four players in the top, three players in the top four, four in the
Yeah.
top six. That four in the
Yeah.
top six, right? Um, Madrid is a powerhouse, bro. Right?
True.
Oh yeah. So how do these players play like they want to win the Ballon d'Or, but also play like they're trying to win stuff for Real Madrid? Because playing like you want to win the Ballon d'Or is an extremely individualistic journey. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's
True. True.
hard to
No,
be a team player
no,
like
I
that.
see. I see where I see where you're going. Like this
Yeah,
might even take us to even think about, what Benzema had to do. Um,
exactly,
just because the
exactly.
focus was all around, Ronaldo being the main man, stuff like that.
Hmm.
So, Benzema kind of had to, dim. No, I don't want to say dim his light because it was actually into his abilities. I mean, he's a
Hmm.
technical player, right? So, bringing in other players into the game and stuff like that. But like
Hmm.
you get what I'm saying. And so I feel like
Hmm.
it's a tough one because what happened last season was at the start of the season, you were making an argument for Bellingham. Bellingham was like carrying Real Madrid, right?
Hmm.
And then at some point, Vinicius came in. And then at
Hmm.
some point, Carvajal was one was like consistent from start to finish, right? So
Hmm.
it's always like there was never that guy who was like from start to finish was like the guy,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
this season though, Vinicius has started like he has started building up the momentum. So if he continues like this, especially with similar performance like he did against, Dortmund,
Hmm.
in the end, it will be clear to everyone, So uh, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, and Madrid are
Hmm.
already struggling to find the balance between that team with all these star players and stuff like that. So it's a tricky one. But and even Bellingham has had to like take sort of like the back seats. He's playing in more of a different role this time. And I mean,
Hmm.
what is he thinking, right? He probably wants to win
Hmm.
the Balon d'Or too. So
Hmm.
it's a tough
Oh
one
no, for
for
sure.
Madrid.
There were Ballon d'Or shots for Bellingham at the start of this season and
Yeah,
the end of last season, and they were legit Ballon d'Or shots. And of course, as a
exactly.
player, you think, bro, like why not me? You feel me? Right?
Hundred
So
percent.
it depends. Benzema took the sacrifice, and how many years later? Maybe 7 years later, it worked out.
Mhm.
Can any of these players wait for 7 years for it to work out? Especially because they've been Ballon d'Or esque before, and that pressure builds on you. People are saying Bellingham has fallen off right now because
Exactly.
he's not contributing as much, but we forget he's playing a completely different role. He's
Hmm.
playing a completely different position, and he's being asked to do different things that aren't really as offensive, right? So then,
100%.
does Bellingham not worth? Is he not worth the Ballon d'Or because he's changed the way he plays, and now there's no offensive output, right? You know what I'm saying? And some people argue yes, which I think is a bit dumb to be honest. But hey, teach their own. Teach their
Yeah,
own.
man. Yeah,
You
man. I
feel me?
mean,
So
this whole
who?
conversation is
It's
is just gonna
crazy,
keep,
bro.
yeah,
I
it's gonna keep
know.
on like moving around and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, hey, fair play to Manchester City, like I said originally. I mean,
Yeah,
bro,
shout out to
they
them.
cooked. I mean, they realized PR was also important. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Madrid did zero PR for Carvajal. Some people are thinking it's outrageous to think that Carvajal should be a Ballon d'Or. I'm like, dude, you watch
Mm-hmm.
Carvajal play ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's effective as a right back, just as
Mm-hmm.
Rodri is effective as a defensive midfielder. It's not like Rodri is
Mm-hmm.
taking on 10 players and firing it into the top corner. No, he just take the ball, ping pass. That's what he's supposed to do. So I don't know. It's a whole combination of things. These things, PR matters.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have an incredible season, of course. Trophies matter, but at the end of the day, you said it. It's a voting. So sometimes even recency bias. You
Mm-hmm.
know, your friends. Are you friends with a journalist? Stuff like that. Like, sometimes it is what it is. I feel like we'll keep on going on. But like
Yeah.
that morning, funny enough, that morning when I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your message first. That's like the
Yeah.
first thing I saw. Like when you texted that, hey,
Uh-huh.
like the football, and I was like, wait, the football world is going crazy. Because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that same morning, man.
That same morning, things happened. There was a breath of fresh air in
Oh,
Carrington.
bro.
Hey, yo, I
Hey,
think this is a
hey,
good
hey, hey.
segue to dive into that. This is a good segue to dive into that.
You said a
Um,
breath of fresh air, man. Speak for yourself, my bro. I don't know
no,
what
it
you're
is a
talking
breath of
about.
fresh air, though. It is a breath of fresh air, right?
Okay.
Sometimes that breath could be a bit too deep and it could kill you, but it's a breath of fresh air. You have fresh. Yeah, my boy is sad. My boy is sad they took his boy,
Bro,
but
I'm
okay,
sad,
cool.
man. No, I'm
Okay,
sad. And I
you know
want to
what?
speak. Let me get it out. Let me get it out.
Let's
Honestly,
please speak your truth, bro.
I woke
Speak
up
your
to
truth. Mm-hmm.
honestly, I didn't care about the Ballon d'Or much, to be honest, because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair, I'm not like the biggest fan of Vinicius either. He's not like my favorite footballer, so I'm not really like going
Mm-hmm.
crazy like that.
Yeah.
But I saw the news that Eric Ten Hag also got sacked that
Mm-hmm.
morning, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
football can be painful, man. Football can be really because I was sitting there going, if Garnacho, Bruno
Mm-hmm.
Fernandes, Diogo Dalot, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god. If they bury all those chances they missed against West Ham, we win like 4-0. Is he getting sacked?
No, no, it's not.
Now, a lot of people are making arguments that he wasn't sacked because of the West Ham game, which
He
I
was talking about
understand.
the Tottenham game. Was it the Tottenham
Yeah,
game?
I mean, a build up, let's just say, poor second
Mm-hmm.
season. And, we are 14th in
Mm-hmm.
the league. It hasn't necessarily been a good year. But, like, it's
Yeah.
just so ironic that that game is the game that was like, okay, let's get him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, the
Mm-hmm.
chances we missed. And then what even blew my mind is like, okay, he leaves, Rude takes over. All of a sudden, we were scoring 5 in the game. Like,
New
like
manager bounce. New manager
football can
bounce.
be. No, but is it
Di
new
Matteo.
manager bounds though? Because it's not like they played any different. They played the
No, they
same way they
didn't.
played.
Same
They were
formation,
same
expected
formation,
players, same everything. Also, same
same
instructions, by
everything,
the way.
same
Same
instructions,
instructions.
and they were
Mm-hmm.
as open as they've always been. I mean, Leicester had chances. If they had a better squad, they probably would have been able to do better. But
Mm-hmm.
this time, all of a sudden, now they found their shooting boots. Now the ball was going into the net. Football can be. Now, me, I was hurt. I was hurt
You-
because everyone knows how I feel about Ten Hag. You can say
yes,
what you
yes.
want to say about the guy, but you can't
He
tell me he's not a
performed.
coach. He performed,
Mm-hmm.
man.
He
Bro, 2 trophies
performed.
in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I bet I can't say that.
He always coming for a titter in this channel, bro.
I always am because I'm like, I'm done with this, bro. Honestly, I'm done with this mediocrity. This sort of good football. Let's give them time. Let's see what they are doing. If we were sacking our manager who has won 2 trophies in 2 years for having a poor start to the season, for finishing eighth in the season where he had over 60 different times of injuries. He had
Mm-hmm.
over 60 like different centre back combinations last season alone. He finished eighth. Still beat Manchester City in an FA Cup final, which Pep is
Mm-hmm.
trying to downplay, saying they were hangover. What do you mean you were hangover, man? No.
Mm-hmm.
And we sacked him, man. And then, I mean, we want to accept that what Mikel Arteta is the next Pep. That's bullshit, man. Hey, Jesse, that's bullshit, man. So nah,
Okay.
bro, nah, me, I
Mhm.
was hurt. I wasn't happy because I feel like
Okay. Mhm.
it's back to the same cycle again. We're gonna have to do
Yeah.
this all over again.
Mhm.
New manager. We're all
Mhm. New
excited.
manager.
Oh, Ruben
3 years
Amorim.
later. Yeah.
3 years later. So now me, I've just resolved to myself. It's simple. If this
Mhm.
guy is not also winning, at least see 2 trophies in 2 years, at least he needs to go. Simple as that. maybe that's the kind of football club we've become now. We're just gonna recycle through our managers. Let's just
I
accept
think
that
it
we're gonna
is.
become the Chelsea of the modern era under the Abramovich era. Maybe that's what we've
Mm-hmm.
become. Okay, fine. Then let's just accept that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I'm just saying, the new manager, 2 trophies in 2 years minimum.
Standard. That's the standard.
Okay, I've
Okay.
said my
I'm glad you got to speak your heart out, bro. That came from deep.
bro.
That
Nah,
came
tough
from
time,
deep. But hey, okay, look, I have so many different thoughts about this, the sacking and the appointment, and we're going to get to the appointment later. But let's start with the
hmm.
sacking.
Yes, man.
It's a combination of so many things. One, the new owners who want to set their own standard and precedent for the club, right? Who
Hmm.
inherited Ten Hag and inherited a Ten Hag who perhaps was on the up and up, but some things failed and some things didn't work, and they kept him. Okay, fine, right? It's also a combination of PR. Let's be entirely honest. The
True.
court of public opinion is a very brutal place, and that's what
Yes,
happened to
man.
our boy. Crazy. It's something that happened to Ole when Ole got beat by Watford 4-0. That game, we knew, like we knew. Remember that time when Watford beat Ole? We just knew he was cooked.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah. So it's the
Bro,
same thing
we've
with these
been through it,
managers. We've been through it. We've been through what, 8 managers since 2011, 2013.
bro.
It's crazy. So
It's
there's all
crazy.
those different combinations. It didn't help that Ten Hag, despite winning 2 trophies, wasn't also playing the best football. It was the manner of losses, the types of wins, and everything in between, right? Which also forced the negative public opinion, but also didn't give him confidence in the eyes of the owners and the board who was trying to keep him. Because if you think about the quickness with which we got Amorim, and we're gonna get into that, it all seems like everything was set up. There was a plan already in place.
Bro.
Maybe after the Tottenham game, or maybe even after the City game last season, they knew,
Or
okay,
maybe
cool,
even
we're
in the
gonna go into
summer,
Amorim. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they're gonna go, okay, cool. We see Amorim. If everything goes wrong with Ten Hag, we're initiating that 10 mil clause.
Yeah.
It was so quick. It was same day, literally type of deal. Same day they
Man.
got him. So there was a plan already. Ten Hag in the eyes of the board was already sacked. They're just waiting to execute. So I feel numb to the fact that he's been sacked. I don't feel
Yeah.
anything because we've been here before, bro. Rinse and repeat. Ten Hag
Yeah.
as an individual, he did what he could. He won us 2 trophies, and the
Yeah,
ways
man.
he won the trophies were good too. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
Like especially that
Yeah.
City final, and also shout out to
No,
Ten
you
Hag
can't take
for.
that away from him.
No, you can't. You can't.
Like
You
you
can't at
can't,
all.
bro. Like after Mourinho, he's been our most
Mhm.
successful manager post Sir Alex Ferguson. So you can't take
Mhm.
that away from Eric Ten Hag, man. Ole
You
can't say
can't.
that.
I mean,
Louis
Ole
Van
can
Gaal
say he
can't say
finished
that.
second.
You know?
But how definitely can't say that. Ole can
Yeah.
say he finished second though.
You see, that's also the other question. You see, now let's go step by step. Okay. Step by step,
That,
man.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So this whole thing got me thinking. So let's imagine Ten Hag
Mm-hmm.
first season he finished third, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say his first season he finished third, he didn't win the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Second season, instead of eighth, he finished fourth, no
Mm-hmm.
trophy. You're
Mm-hmm.
telling me that he will still be in a job right now. And this season, let's say he's sit right now. You would be happy.
No,
You
I
would
wouldn't
prefer
be
that.
happy. No, silverware is where we play football. I wouldn't be happy. But there's an argument to make that he'd still be in the job though. We're 14th right now, bro. In the eyes of the players, right? In the eyes of the players, the fans, the
Hmm.
public, he would still be with a job. That's not what
True.
we consider success though. There's a different thing. You and I and other
Ah,
people consider success as silverware. That's why we play football,
but we need to
right?
win.
We need to win, and he was successful by that metric. But there's being successful and there's retaining the job. I think
True.
if the situation that you discussed happened, he will still have
Yeah.
a job right now, most definitely. But would he be successful in my eyes? No, because we need to win something. You feel me? Which is why,
Yeah.
again, for that reason, I feel for Ten Hag and I feel for
Yeah.
the people who supported him. But I also don't feel sad because this is
Okay.
United, bro. Like, this is what we do. Amorim is gonna come. He might cook. He might chef. Maybe he'll get us an FA Cup or something. You feel me? And we'll,
Minimum, bro. Like,
yeah.
nah. You need to understand Ten Hag has actually raised the standard because before he joined
Hmm.
for 6 years, we were trophyless.
Hmm.
So me, I'm not gonna accept. Okay, we finished fourth 2 years in a row, no trophies, and be like, okay,
Hmm.
Amorim is like that. Nah, man. If after
Hmm.
2 seasons we finish fourth twice and he still has no trophy, I'm gonna pile on the pressure. Nah, we don't want any Ateta
No, that's a fair
business here.
point. That's a
Nah,
fair
nah, nah,
point.
nah, nah. No
That's a fair
Tottenham
point.
Hotspur business here, bro. Need to win.
So, so if you're the owner, if you're in charge of recruiting and you're director of football,
Mhm.
how do you then then set like the standards. Because the truth is that he may not win a trophy this season. He might not. And next season, his goal will be to finish in the Champions League position, right? Those are 2 years already, maybe 2.5 for giving it. This is
Mhm.
already, yeah. So third season is when realistically they might expect him to win a trophy. But by that time, in your metric, you'll say he should get the boot. Like he hasn't won anything in 2 years.
Bro,
So do you then
this
sack him then?
season, so this season, right? We've played
Hmm.
two FA. Is it? No, it's the Carabao Cup, right?
Yeah, Carabao Cup,
Bro, first game seven.
Europa League.
Yeah, we gave Barnsley 7, and then we
Hmm.
gave Leicester 5.
Hmm.
Worst case scenario, he should win the Carabao Cup, please. Our next opponent is Tottenham Hotspurs. I mean, come on. Even
Hmm.
when we are terrible, we shouldn't be losing to Spurs.
No, we shouldn't. Spurs they
Yeah,
have
so
terrible defense, by the way. They're not
exactly.
really playing
So
the best
yeah, you could
football.
say, okay, this
Yeah.
season we're not gonna go for top 4. This season maybe top 6
Hmm.
or whatever.
Hmm.
But come on, the Carabao Cup is there to be won. Why shouldn't we be
Hmm.
winning the Europa League right now? You know what I'm saying? Like none of
Hmm.
the who are the biggest challengers in the Europa League? It should be us. A lot of people are actually expecting us to win. So
Hmm.
this season, there is still success there to be achieved this season.
Hmm.
So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, okay, I'm just gonna give him a pass. He finishes fifth, but because all of a sudden we have 60% more of the ball than everyone else, yeah, it's good enough. Nah, man, it's not good enough. So yeah,
Hmm.
like let's
Okay.
put things into context. In Ten Hag's
Hmm.
first season, he finished third and won a trophy.
Hmm.
Minimum, minimum. That's all I'm
Hmm.
saying. So if I'm director of football, that's what I'm telling him. You need to understand
Hmm.
there's success there to be won. We brought you in because we want our league form to improve. So improve our league form, but
Hmm.
that's not the only, that doesn't mean hurt our chances in other competitions. We don't want that. We still want you to be able to pick up something. Pick up an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, an Europa League, for example.
Hmm.
Like win the Europa League. That's our route back into the Champions League. Because right now it's too competitive for us to finish top 4. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if I'm the new manager, and we're gonna talk more about it, if I'm the new manager, even myself, I'm prioritizing the Europa League, 100%.
Hmm.
Because then
Hmm.
I kill two birds with one stone. I win a trophy in my first season. So already, I've like reduced the pressure because I've already won a trophy. And
Hmm.
I've taken my team back to the Champions League. So the league could go, drown in the sea or whatever. We're winning the Europa League. That's it.
The winning the Europa League will be a big
Yeah,
statement. We won it in 2017, right?
yeah,
2017,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we lost the final in what 2021 against Villarreal.
Against
So
Villarreal. Really.
yeah,
Come on.
winning it will be a very big statement, for sure. I in no way, shape, or form do I think that's the expectation put on him. I don't think it is. I
Really?
really don't.
So what do you think
I
the
don't think
expectation
it.
is, man?
Increase the league form, maybe pick up a Carabao Cup. Period. That's what I think it
Maybe
is.
on
Hmm.
a maybe type
Maybe,
thing.
maybe. I think. Then again, I
Like,
don't
how do
know.
you feel about that though? You see, I mean, right now we're trying to think as a director of football.
Hmm.
You yourself, like, what are your expectations? Like, right now that he's come to pick us up from this season, what are your
Hmm.
expectations? Joe? Let us know, man, and be bold about that thing, bro.
Oh
You
no,
can say
hundred
we
percent.
should
So,
win the Champions League.
oh my days. So at the very least, I didn't really like thought about the expectations for this guy. I'm still a bit downtrodden about the whole thing. But again, to be very fair, definitely increase our league form. I think that's one of the most like explicit and the most
Yeah.
obvious things to do. What that means, honestly speaking, I'm looking at the league table right now. We're saying down 13th. Dude, what does that even mean to increase the league form? I can't even say for sure. Maybe get us
Top
into a
10.
European sport
Top 10.
top 10. That's so sad. Nah, we're better than that. We are better than that. We can finish the table. We have how many losses? We have 4 losses. Bro, we can finish top 4. Matter of fact, matter of fact, I want him to go for top 4. We can finish top 4. Like screw all these one. Like, okay, we have 4 losses, we have 3 wins, and we have 2 draws. We can finish top 4. We just need to win, actually. Just need to start winning. Like we just
Bro, I
we need
don't
to
know.
start winning games.
Personally, I feel like the league form will be hard to improve, especially looking at the timing he's coming in. Apparently, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna talk about that shortly. He's gonna come in with a new system. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna take time to sort of build something that will be consistent over a league. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So for me, I think top 6 is achievable. He can do top 6, right? I mean, Villa look good. I mean, Nottingham Forest out of nowhere this year. I mean, of course, we expect them to fall off at some point, but like,
Yeah, for
it's not
sure.
gonna. I feel like top 4 is gonna be tough. That's why I feel like you should prioritize the Europa League because that's how we get back into the Champions League. That's like
That's
the
true.
best.
That's true.
For me, that would be like the. Let's say he finishes fifth, picks up the Europa League. That's it. That's a good season.
That's a good season. I mean, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing against that. That's a good season. Let's say Europa League knockout stages, semi, final, perhaps semi final or the final, and we get top four. I'm not mad at
Yeah,
that too. I'm
we'll
not mad at that.
take that.
Pick up a Carabao Cup. Okay, I think at very least, I think you should pick up the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. That's where we've had the best form, right?
Yeah, man.
That's where we've had the best form, right? He can finish the top four, bro. I'm looking at the teams above us: Bournemouth, Tottenham, Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest. With all due respect to those teams and how good they've been, I think fundamentally we're a better football club than them, and eventually the skills will shift. Fulham, Brentford, Newcastle, the skills will shift, bro. Those are
Yeah,
what, six teams out of the
yeah.
top 13. That's top seven already, right?
I
We have
mean, he
to fight with
certainly has a
Aston Villa
job
and
to do.
Chelsea. Yeah, so this is it's not exactly impossible, bro. I mean, Danny
Okay.
Welbeck is scoring goals and so is Chris Wood, but that's fine. It's we only played 10 games. We have what 28 games to go. In 28
Mhm.
games, he can pick up good points. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay,
I
man.
feel like
I mean, let's
yeah.
see. I mean, to be fair, we have a good run. I mean,
Hmm.
if we get a result against Chelsea, imagine
Hmm.
actually if we win against Chelsea, I think we'll be 4 points within. I think like the four or
Let me
five
look at
points
the
within the top four.
let me just
After
look at the
we
table right now. If we win
like
against
if we
Chelsea,
yeah, I think we'll be
yeah,
like
uh
4
huh,
points off top four or something like that.
hmm,
Um, so and then we play Leicester and Ipswich. Like he has a good run there, so I can
hmm,
see your point. He could help us climb up the table,
hmm.
and that would be nice to see. But I feel like, yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't finish in the top four, he just needs to guarantee. Like all we're saying is, any which way we should be back into the Champions League next season. If that's going to be
Okay,
through a top four finish or winning the Europa League, we'll accept it. That's all we're
okay,
saying.
fair. That's fair. I can go with that. You can
Yeah.
let us know down below in the comments what you think. And I think this is a good place to transition into how he's going to do that. So
Mhm.
let's talk about Amorim as a manager. Right, we've talked about
Yeah,
top
yeah,
four, League Cup winning, but let's talk about like how he plays football. Now, admittedly, like most of the world, I really hadn't done my research into this
yeah,
guy. No idea who he was. I'm like Amorim. Who is this man? Like, and some videos have been done on the style of play he does. And right now, we're kind of
yeah.
aware the 3-4-3. Three center
Mhm.
backs. You have the wing back system with like the two cams and then the striker, right? And then there's that striker for Sporting who's really doing what I'm going to butcher
Yeah,
his name. What's his name again? Victor something?
yeah.
Victor
Victor
Gyok.
something.
Yeah, Victor. Let's call him Victor G. Like,
Victor
if you're
G.
watching this, yeah, Victor G. If you're watching this by any means, I don't want to butcher your last name, but he's cooking. He's cooking specifically for Amarim. So
Yep,
let's think about the 3-4-3 and
yep, yep.
how it works, how we transition from our 4-2-3-1 to 3-4-3. Do you think we can do that with our current squad? What do we need? Who do we need back?
I mean, first of all, this guy. I mean, for the benefit of our listeners. I mean, from what we've heard, he's like he apparently he has actually been at Manchester United before. He did an
Mm-hmm.
internship at the under Jose Mourinho, so
Mm-hmm.
he has some experience within the club. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are saying he's probably the next Mourinho because of how he is. He has charisma. I don't know if you saw his interview where he was answering questions about my man. The guy was like, as if he wanted to fight the reporter, like, some other clubs came for me and I didn't go and things. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, okay. Like he has some bite in him, so that's nice to
mm-hmm.
see. I like the elements that he's actually a former player. Sometimes
Yeah.
managers who succeed who are former players is because sometimes they have that sort of dressing room experience. So they can
Mm-hmm.
pick up on certain things, they can even find out who is leaking in the group. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always nice. If you see some of the successful managers who were former players,
Mm-hmm.
you could see that experience really shines through.
Yeah.
So that's nice to see. But
Pep, Zidane, all those guys.
exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
But he has had a great track record so far. I mean, apparently
Mm-hmm.
he illegally in quotes coached some Casapia team, and they were winning so much.
Mm-hmm.
One of the arrivals had to report that this guy doesn't have his coaching license, so he shouldn't be coaching. And then he went to Braga, did well at Braga, went to sports, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't know where he's at sports and everything. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's like a brief background of the guy. So certainly, from
Mm-hmm.
an outsider looking in, great appointment. And shout out to Ineos for how they also did the appointment. You were making a point about how this whole thing seems like they already had a plan, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I'm actually gonna get into the squad a little bit. I'm actually thinking about now. I'm going back to the summer and the signings we made in the summer, and I'm like, okay, signing Ugarte. Well, he's worked with Ugarte before.
Yeah.
We're on the market for more center backs. We actually have 6 center backs right now.
Yeah.
The guy plays with three,
Mm-hmm.
center backs. So I'm like, I'm seeing the vibes there,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And if you look at Joshua Zexki, he's not a striker, but he's like an can play inside 10, stuff like that. And that's how this manager likes to play with his tens, like
Mm-hmm.
what Florian Wirtz does for Leverkusen, right? Like that sort of
Mm-hmm.
inside 10. So yeah, maybe Ineos did have a plan. Apparently, after the West Ham game, immediately they sacked Ten Hag. The guy was on a plane straight to Sporting. He's like, I want your manager right now, right here, now, now.
Mm-hmm.
To leave it kind of feel. So hey, shout out to Ineos. I mean, one could
Shout out to
argue they should
Indios.
have done it in the summer, but you know.
Yeah.
So those are like my initial thoughts about the manager. Exciting, but then
Okay.
again, Ten Hag was just as exciting. But let's not get into that.
This
Um,
is. Oh my god.
let me answer your question. Oh my god, this felt like a
Go
week,
on.
man.
Go, no, go off, bro. Speak your truth, man. Speak your truth. It's all
Okay,
good. Mhm.
can our squad play this 3-4-3? 100%. We have
Kind of
six center
squad.
backs.
We
We
do.
have six center backs. Why not? We can. I've been seeing some Postcodes. I don't know. Postcodes is like the Grim Reaper for Manchester United, man. Everything he
Mhm.
says is like negative, negative, negative. I don't know. Like, have some faith in the boys, man. The guy
Why
doesn't
you say
read
I'm on
the
the
lit at
most?
all, man. He doesn't read the lit at all. He doesn't think we can
Mm-hmm.
play a back three, anything. I'm like, wait, if you actually look at our squad, if you have Lenny Euro on the right, he's younger, he's quicker,
Mm-hmm.
he can be more aggressive. If you sit the late in the middle because more experience, he's bigger, he's more physical, he's gonna win all the heading balls and whatever. And you put Martinez on the left side, bro. That's a worthy back three.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Martinez is good on the ball. He's gonna be aggressive. He can drive into the midfield if needed. The late
Mm-hmm.
is just gonna be the guy at the back, just cutting out, big chances and stuff like that. And you have Lenny Euro on the right. Who says we can't do it? The back three is solid, right?
It's there.
The
It's there.
only the only problem is the left wing back position. You know,
Too many injuries, bro. Too many
too many
injuries.
injuries. We can't rely on Shaw. We can't rely on Malasia. I mean, I
Yeah.
could see an argument for turning.
Dallo.
Nah, I was even gonna say Ganacho to a left wing back. I could see arguments for
Uh,
that. But I mean, you know, I want to make a shout
okay.
though.
Uh-huh.
Anthony as a left wing back could cook.
No. Anthony
100
does a
million.
lot.
Bro, 100 million as a left wing back. Oh my god, he could cook, man. I'm just saying, man.
The problem is, okay, look, okay. On the one side, yeah, he does a lot of defensive work. He does a lot of tracking
Yeah,
back. On the other side, left wing backs have to be very good at passing in the ball, bro. Anthony
of
is
course he
allergic
is.
to passing in the ball, bro. He's allergic to crossing the ball.
Listen, you're forgetting that outside of the foot cross he made, for
He
Ganacho to
was
finish.
good.
Oh,
He
Anthony,
was good.
man. Yeah, yeah. On paper, this guy is good. He has qualities. You can't tell. He's good, man. It's just I don't know.
He's good.
There's just something missing there. But yeah, I feel
Something
like our
hasn't
squad can
clicked.
play. Our squad
Okay.
can play the 3-4-3 for sure. So yeah,
So, okay.
I'll let you know what you think.
No, for sure. I think the same. My biggest issue was with the left wing back position as well. We have enough centre backs to cover the centre back position. That's good. I think that's an upside. We have Onana because Onana would also be used as as a ball playing keeper even more here. So
Yeah,
let's say in the build up, let's say if you have Euro kind of going into like a DM role, you'd have
yeah,
Ugarte, Lissandro, and Onana as that back three, so to speak, as they're progressing the ball. That's how I think
yeah.
it would play out. On the right, you have either Dalot, right?
Oh,
Who else is the other
Mazari,
guy? Yeah,
Mazari,
Maduro,
yeah,
Mazari, yeah. Who I think would shift to the left in this case, and you'd have Rashford, Garnacho, maybe Xerxes or Hoyland in the middle, depending on how he sets it up, or Bruno Fernandez in there with Ugarte. There's so many different options you can play.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many different ways to make it work. He just has to pick the right people. Because the way I would do it, at least right now, is like the back three you mentioned. I'm cool with that. Once Hero comes from injury, I don't know if he'll be healthy by the time this guy has his first game, but um, at the moment he's not. So let's put I don't know Maguire. I don't know.
Lindelof is. I
Lindelof
actually
too.
like Evans. I like Johnny Evans.
Evans as well. Hey, yo, it's come to this. But let's make the argument for Evans. We can put Evans.
Mm.
We can put Evans, Delita, and Martinez, right?
Yeah,
Lisandro, and then of course you have Onana behind them. In the middle you have Ugarte, and I don't know. You can make an argument for anyone, right? Uh, there's the Ericsson argument. Ericsson has been playing good ball, though. I would
nah,
personally like to have him on the bench. right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think I can see him playing Ericsson there though. In the same way Ten Hag was,
Nah,
I
no
can see him
chance.
playing Ericsson there. You don't think he would? I can see.
I
Like
know.
I didn't think Ten Hag would. At least the amount of players, the amount of time
No,
Ericsson got,
the way this guy
he
likes to play,
would.
like his two holding midfielders have to be mobile. They have to have like recover the ball and stuff. Like I could make an argument for Casemiro alongside Ugarte. I mean, it's obviously gonna be. It has to be Kobe Mainoo and Ugarte as the two
Mhm.
holding midfielders in the four. It has to be those two. But I could make an argument for Casemiro and Ugarte. But I don't
I was
see
gonna make
Ericsson
the
at
argument.
all.
I was gonna say, of course, starting Kobe Mainoo and Ugarte for sure. I mean, Kobe Mainoo one, he just needs to have that sort of form going on for him.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Ericsson has got us out of some. Not even got us out. He's been performing a lot more than we thought. He's been overperforming.
No, but if
let's give it a
Ericsson is
buck.
gonna play though, he has to be
Give it a
further
buck.
up the pitch, maybe as one of the two tens, but not in that role. I feel like you know, like
Yeah,
as
but
the two of the tens in the front three.
who do you? But I mean, there's Fernandez. I could argue for Fernandez, Xerxes, and Hoyland, right? Or you could put Rashford and Fernandez,
That's what
right?
I was thinking. I think
Yeah,
he's actually gonna do Fernandez as a ten in behind Rashford and Hoyland. Like that's gonna be the
exactly.
front, and we will cook. That front three
We
will
will
cook.
cook. We will cook. Hopefully, we've had this conversation so many times. Bro. I feel so drained. Look, I'll forever believe in my team, but at some point it gets to a point where you just feel so drained, bro. We'll cook though. I trust we'll cook. I trust we'll cook. Hopefully. No, we'll cook. But okay, how would you set up the team? How would you set up the team?
I mean, the back three we already talked about it. I want Delit, I want Lenny Yoro, I want Martinez,
No, at
Onana.
the moment now, because Euro is still injured. At the moment now,
I
or maybe
mean,
you'll
I
be
don't want to do
available by
at
the
the
time it
moment
comes.
now. Me, I'm doing what I want to. Me, I don't know. At the
Euro
moment
can't.
now,
Euro
eh,
can't play right now, bro.
at the moment, okay, at the moment,
Euro
Johnny Evans is gonna be in the middle of the back three. He's
at the
more
moment.
experienced. Yeah, right now, I'm gonna put Johnny Evans as the like central center back. The late
That's
on his right,
crazy.
Martinez on his left. Yes, man, he's most experienced. He can organize the back well. He doesn't need to do. He just needs to stand there and organize the people.
But
That's all
that's
he
the
needs to do.
problem, though. He'll get outrun, outpaced, outbullied, outballed, out everything.
That's why you have the other two on his side. They will do the dirty work. He just has to cut out fires. So it's gonna actually work,
Are
bro.
you trusting Johnny Evans to be our last man behind to cut our fires?
Bro, who am I gonna put?
I don't know.
Lindelof, no chance, man. He's better than Lindelof. Have you seen Johnny Evans this year? Guy, don't sleep. Hey, man, no
That's the
disrespect
same.
on Johnny
That's
Evans'
the same
name, man.
argument. It's just
Nah, man, nah, man. And Maguire is injured too, so it has to be Johnny Evans in there with the late on the right, Martinez on the left. Left wing back, I said me, I want to see Anthony there.
okay.
100 million on the left wing back. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. I won't be
Okay.
surprised if he does that.
Mhm.
In the midfield, Kobe Mainu with Ugarte. He's injured, so I'm fairly fine with doing Casemiro and Ugarte.
Mhm.
Dalo on the right, obviously. And then I'm gonna play Bruno as a 10 in behind Rashford and Hoyland.
Mhm.
Apparently he likes to do like a three, like not like a 10 behind a two, but likes to do two tens.
Two
So
tens. You
Rashford
need a
will
striker. Yeah.
yeah, Rashford will play as a 10 in my like alongside Bruno Fernandez and
Mhm.
Rasmus Hoyland, and they'll be interchangeable. So that's how I will set up the team. But yeah, we'll see, man. We're all here to see how
We'll
things
see.
go.
We'll see. We'll see. I agree. I agree. I can see that happening for sure. And then what about on the right wing back? Delo,
Dalo. Mhm.
Mazwari, either or.
Dalo.
Okay.
Sorry, man. Dalo, man. What you talking about? Dalo.
I don't know why you don't like Mazwari, bro. Like, yeah,
No, I like him, but it's Dalo. Dalo is quicker, man. Dalo is quicker. He
uh-huh.
has the energy to go up and down the pitch. You know what I'm saying? Mazari, shout out to Claude, by the way. Claude made an observation. At the time when he
Mhm.
made that observation, I was kind of fighting him on it. But he said that Mazari is slow. And I saw
Mm.
it when we played, I think Fenerbahce, he came on,
Mhm.
even against Leicester. Fenerbahce is when Ten Hag played him as the 10. Oh my God. I was like, oh my God. It's like the guy
Oh
has
yeah,
no legs.
I don't know what Tenago's trying to cook over there. By the way,
Bro. So yeah, I mean, I can see it.
I think.
Like Dalo seems like there's more energy in the tank. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And of course,
Mhm.
I think he's a better player than Mazrai. I mean, yes,
He's also a better player going forward over the course and
exactly.
everything. We won't talk about that West Ham miss though, but he's a better player going forward. Yeah, he's a better goal scorer than Mazwari. He's a better. I agree. Um,
Yeah, man.
let's talk
Go
about that
ahead.
time when Mazwari. was played as a 10 though. I think at that point Ten Hag knew he was cooked. He was just trying
Jojo,
some shit.
Jojo, please, please. Let's just end this on a good note, okay? Let's not get into
No,
the Ten Hag is gone. I wish him all the best. 17 million pay
no, man,
cut.
that
Oh my
is.
god, like he's walking away with like 17 million. So hey,
Hmm.
shout out to Ten Hag, man. Send me a million,
Exactly.
man. I was your biggest fan.
Yeah, support the podcast. Isaac was pushing the Ten Hag agenda for real, bro. Support the podcast. But
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. I think this is good. We have a big weekend game as of this recording. We have a
Mhm.
big weekend game coming up tomorrow, and just maybe as we finalize today's session, what are your predictions for tomorrow's game? How do you think it's going to go down?
Yeah, I mean, Cole Palmer, man.
Cold
Cole
Palmer.
Palmer. Hey, what a
I
player!
see Palmer.
What
What
a
a
player!
player.
You know, we've missed those kind of players. We've missed that. Like with this whole, Spanish football tiki taka style that has made football a little bit organized, and
Hmm.
every move is predicted ahead of time, like the way Manchester City play and how Pep has influenced the game now.
Hmm.
It's always refreshing to see that player who is like no system, nothing, just take
Just
the ball and plays,
just
just play the
ball.
ball, like just ball. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
Palmer will do well in a Chelsea shirt. Palmer looks like he'll go to Nottingham Forest and cook in their midfield. He
Hmm.
does well for England, right? Look,
Hmm.
contrast Palmer with Foden and see how Foden struggles when he plays for England and stuff like that. And you're like, Pep just takes out that. I feel like that like you the guy will literally see Doku beat a player 1, 2, 3,
Hmm.
take a shot, and will be screaming at the guy like when you get the ball, just pass it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just nice to see, and he's the one I'm scared most for tomorrow. I was actually
Hmm.
worried I didn't pick him in my FPL. I mean, today I did well. You know what I'm saying? At the
Are you
moment,
cooked? You
I
cooked?
cooked today. I cooked today.
You
I
cooked?
gotta say,
You
but I'm
cooked?
worried about him because almost everyone else has him and I don't.
Hmm.
And last year, oh my god,
He
would
killed.
have
He
had
killed us.
7.
Yeah.
So I'm worried. I'm not expecting us to win the game. Then again, I
Really?
wouldn't. Yeah, then again, I wouldn't be surprised if we won the game because apparently Chelsea hasn't won at Old Trafford since 2013. We've won
Hmm.
5, drawn 6.
Hmm.
So, I mean, the numbers are in our favor. There's a new manager bounce. Let's see.
Yeah.
They have terrible defense. I mean,
Hmm.
so if our attackers are on there, we will have a good game. But in terms of predictions, I would take a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be a high scoring draw, in my opinion. That's what I prefer personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a win, of course, but I feel like a win will be stretching it a little bit, looking at our
Hmm.
current state and how Cole Palmer's the kind of form he's on. Man, I just don't see how we're gonna be able to defeat that. But yeah, those are how. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I'm looking at a 2-1 win United, bro. 2-1 win
Wow, it's
United.
confident.
I think Rashford will score. And I think Hoyland will score as well. Either Rashford or Garnacho or Hoyland, one of those two will give us a goal. Fernandez assist. I want to be as precise with this prediction as possible. 2-1 assist. I think Palmer will either. Why are you laughing? We'll come back to this video. I think Palmer will either score or assist. But I also didn't pick him in my FPL team because I have Haaland, bro. So
Oh, Haaland, man.
well,
Sheesh.
let's not even talk about him. But I'm
True.
counting on United to win 2-1 tomorrow. I still think
Okay.
we're bouncing off a very good win off Leicester. It was
Hmm.
Leicester, but new manager bounce. There's a freshness to the team.
True.
Chelsea can cook, and I'm trusting them to cook. But I think we'll also do our fair share of cookery. Honestly, 2-1 win United. That's for my prediction. 2-1 win United.
All right,
Fernandez,
man.
Fernandez, Hoyland, Rashford, or Garnacho will each have either a goal or an assist, depending on how it goes. There'll be a goal and assist from that lot, right? For sure. Yeah, 2-1 win United. Something. I'm calling it now. I'm stamping it.
All right, man. All right,
Feel
man.
me?
I call it
Yeah,
2-2. I think I'm
2-2.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll see you tomorrow then. I'll see
All
you
right,
tomorrow
man.
then. All right, man, guys. Thank you guys for tuning into another show of our
Yes,
podcast.
sir.
And as always, if you have any thoughts, leave them down in the comments. What you want
Mhm.
us to talk about next. If you want to come on here and talk about your team, Arsenal players are looking at you. Chelsea fans are looking at you. Madrid, if you want to
Yeah,
come and
yeah,
defend
yeah.
your boy. We haven't talked about Barcelona. And I feel like we should talk about Barcelona in the next episode in the
Yeah.
other flip of the Ballon d'Or conversation. But
True. True. True.
leave any idea down in the comments. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Yep. Peace.